Good afternoon. This is Munira from Kismet Ventures, Inc. I am coming to you from Chicagoland. I am doing these interviews because I feel that people who are instilling value are undervalued themselves. They tend to, project the value that they are projecting and instilling in other people, but they don't do it for themselves enough. So I am doing that piece of work for them, where I find people who are really adding value and creating waves, small ripples to create a big wave. And I find people who are doing such a wonderful job in other people's lives. Today, my guest is Janet Wiszowaty, and I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us on my little show, if you will. One day it will be a big show. Hi, Janet. How are you?
I am great, Munira. How are you?
I am good. It's a beautiful day out here in Chicagoland, and it's hot.
Well, I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and it is a beautiful day out here, and it's hot too.
Oh, great.
A lot of people think when you're up northern, in the north of your border that we're cold, but no, not so much.
Well, I like that because I love the sunshine and I love the brightness when the sun is out. I hate dull days, but I just have to make do with them. And thank you again for joining us. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Janet, and I inspire people to go after their dreams. I suffered some health issues and some challenges and stuff. I'm a retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police dispatcher. I did emergency calls for the policing, and it took a toll on my health. And so I had to find how I could compensate for that, how I could get better. And through my journey, I came up to this point that now I can share this journey, and I can share tips and tools and who I've trained with, and that because really our lives are really short, and we all have such great things to give. So just share your knowledge and we can change the world.
Wow. So you said you were a dispatcher. How long did you work and when did you start?
I started in 1981. I started with the police force, and in 82 I started in the dispatch center. And so I retired in 2011, and now I contract back into the Eastern Arctic. So way up in the Eastern Arctic, near Greenland actually, and I do relief up there. So when they're short-staffed or somebody goes on holidays, they bring me up there and I continue to do my magic.
So do you physically have to be in the room?
Yeah. Well, it's we look in the dispatch center. So there's some TV shows that show the dispatch center when they're in policing shows and that. So we have a dispatch center, and where I work up in Iqaluit in the Baffin Islands, we look after 23 remote detachments over 3 time zones.
Oh, wow.
We take all their emergency calls.
So Edmonton is a state, right? You're in Canada.
Edmonton is a city. It's the capital of Alberta, which is a province equivalent to your state. So we're a province. We have provinces and territories. So Iqaluit is in Nunavut, which is one of our 3 territories.
So when you get calls, are these just regular 911 calls that, we hear about, like the Chicago PD, or is it something that when people are hiking or,
We do everything. So from emergency calls to little kids calling 911 saying, "Grandma won't let me have another cookie."
How do you deal with those type of situations?
You've got to take it in stride, and you don't want to scare children. You want them to be calling if there's an emergency. So you just share a little bit with them, and then you ask to speak to an adult in the house, and just go with them and say, don't get mad at them. Just explain to them a little more what an emergency is. But we deal with lots of like abuse situations, alcohol, traffic accidents. There's, anything that police deal with, we take those phone calls and dispatch a police officer.
You've worked there for almost 30 years.
Yeah, over 30 years I've been doing this. Yeah.
Almost 40 now.
Yeah.
So what makes you said it had a toll on your life?
Well, it's like when a person's dealing with trauma all the time, there's certain things that will attach themselves to you. So in 2001 or 2002, I was in a serious car accident. And it just happened that it was the fourth car accident in 10 years. And I always like to say that God gave me warnings and little taps, but then he gave me a 2x4 because I wasn't listening. So it took me out for a year. And during that time, it was also a blessing. There's always blessings when things happen. I found that I had ovarian cysts growing, so I had to have surgery for that. I had an arterial venous malformation, which is like a aneurysm behind my ear, and I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I had a choice to make, right? I had a choice, and as we all do, how do I get better? Do I stay in this or do I get better? So that was my journey that has led me to where I am now. And but I always believe that if anybody, whoever they has been diagnosed with a trauma or PTSD, it's an emotional attachment. That's my belief, because I can deal with any emergency, but the ones that always stayed with me was a suicide of a police officer I was close to, a child calling in the middle of the night because her mom was being beat up by a boyfriend. She was the same age as my grandchild, and she may have even gone to the same school and been in the same class. That has always stayed with me, and that is like 20 years ago almost. And I always wonder how she did, because she's living with that trauma. And so, we like to protect those, right? And so that was an attachment to me. So there's some things that you'll never have an attachment to. And, but others, they stay with you. So I had to learn, okay, this happened. How do I deal with it? And professionally, I got professional help. I worked with a psychologist who gave me some amazing tools. But really, ultimately, it comes to your own state of mind. And sometimes we're not in that place to make those decisions. And I want to state that very clearly. I knew at this one night when I was wishing I'd died in that accident, I knew that there was that little bit of light that I needed help. And so if I can share just a little bit of that for people, please, if you have that little bit of inkling, ask for help. We can't do this on our own. It is almost impossible because we're in our own box. And sometimes we need that hand up to help us come out of it and to learn new tools to be well. And to never work with anybody they are not comfortable with. Always, always trust your instincts.
That is so good advice. You have just touched a very good chord, because many people, first of all, where I come from, there is no help. In the countries that we live in, there is help. I've seen help for people who have lost their husbands, their wives, their children. There's counseling in schools. I spoke to a counselor who says, you will be amazed that kids need so much counseling. And so, that's something that you touched on. But then women are just, in our culture, are supposed to deal with it. You're not supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to deal with it. So that's very sound advice, because women are not supposed to just deal with it. They're supposed to be able to talk. And that's why I think partly we have friends who we just talk to, but friends sometimes are a good shoulder, and sometimes they'll just, kind of, it's a band-aid and not let it scab, but, just let's put a band-aid on it and just forget that it's hurting right now. So it's like that too. So where when you talk about this, and you're talking about in professional life, do you think that because of the stress, and there's consultants out there, because I used to be a consultant, and sometimes you work for 20 hours a day and just keep going. So what kind of work situations do you think that women or people should ask help? What type of work are they doing so that they can ask for help, one? And two, what kind of help and who do they go ask for help?
Okay, I was fortunate enough, like they're within the police force, they will refer us to people, and there are, the RCMP does have a medical doctor we can talk to. I was off work because of a car accident. I thought everything was car accident related. And so I found my own psychologist. Actually, the lawyer sent me to one. I didn't like her. She didn't have my best interest at heart. And so I went looking for someone that I thought I could relate to. And I think that that's one of the things you really brought up was, where do we go for help and when do we ask for it? And we really have to explore ourselves. Like, the psychologist wasn't the only thing that helped me heal. I worked with my doctor, I worked with a chiropractor, I worked with a massage therapist. And I think that if we take care of our own bodies and do those things, it helps bring that trauma out. And it doesn't have to be a huge something that as long as it affects you, it's your trauma. And and to surround yourself with positive people. Take those people that are the naysayers out of your life and ask questions. Talk to your doctor. Say, this is what's going on. They may have different situations for you. Do your own research. Like, we live in a time where we can Google just about anything and do research. And, look for, like you said, there's different groups that you can go to in that. There are just so much available to us in North America. But you know what, as much as it's available, people aren't always aware. So that's why shows like yours are so important, to bring the awareness that you can ask for something, right? God says, ask and you shall receive. So just keep asking questions. There's some great books out there. I trained with Jack Canfield, the success principles. Just surround yourself with that positive. It's not always easy. Life is like this, right? Yeah. And some of those negative people are family members that we have to live with. How do you work around that? What tools can you bring into your life? Can you put on some headphones and listen to a meditation tape or a podcast that is inspiring? And just to listen to yourself, like really journaling. I teach journaling. I do vision boards. It's just, this all keeps me healthy. Plus, it is also sharing knowledge. So it's, when you're ready, and I call myself the now what coach, because when the psychologist said to me, you don't need to work with me anymore, I says, oh my God, now what? Now what do I do? How do I keep going forward? How do I keep myself healthy? And that's when I started on this journey of taking more courses and more reading and studying, and to the point where I am now. And, we just have to want it. We have to want it.
So you are a coach now?
Yep. I'm a coach, a mentor, a speaker. I speak internationally and I do workshops and stuff. So I spoke in the UN last year.
That, yes.
It was amazing. When you put out there, and I'm sure, Munira, you've got some examples as well. In 2011, I trained with Jack Canfield. I did his Train the Trainer program. And I also did some training with a person called Marsha Weeder. And during my training, I was taking this one workshop, and we were supposed to stand up and say our name and what we wanted. So I stood up and said my name and where I was from, and I said, and I want to speak in the UN, in the United Nations. And so one of the girls says, hey, well, talk to me later and stuff. And we sort of just let it go. This was in San Francisco. I'm up here in Canada. Anyways, last year, the opportunity arose. There was a program that I applied for and was accepted in. And I want to share with you guys, watch your words. Watch your words. Because I said I wanted to speak in the UN. What I meant, I wanted to speak to the UN. But I said I wanted to speak in the UN. So I did speak to my peers in the United Nations in New York City, and that is on my YouTube site. If you put my name in, Janet Wiszowaty, you'll find my UN talk.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I didn't know you were a coach, but you share so much wisdom in the group that we are in, the Women Entrepreneur Group. And it's so, when I saw you, I said, I need to interview you because I look for wisdom. And not everybody is a coach, but everybody likes to give advice, right?
Yeah.
And I know because I'm around people who are always advising me. And we know for a fact that not all advice should be taken. So you take what you can out of that piece and then, throw away some stuff. So I appreciate. So you're a coach and you teach the now what coaching?
Well, I coach from that place. So if somebody's at a fork in their road, and they don't know, they want to do something different, but they don't know how, and they want to be supported. And that's what I do. I have a year-long program that for people who want to explore that, because, a lot of people don't know about coaching, or they don't know about mentoring, or they've experienced it, but not necessarily for self, right? Baseball coaches, work coaches and mentors and stuff. So it's what it is. It's all in the question, right? And for me, when I do my now what coaching, it's and I call myself a visionary coach because I can see a vision. You tell me about yourself, and I can see where your potential is. And is that what you want, right? Because let's face it, like you said, people tell us what to do. I don't tell you what to do. I give you ideas of what you've told me to reflect back on you. Is this really what you want to do? How will you feel? What will you be saying? How will you be dressing? Where will you be? Who do you want to be? And can you be that? It's like getting better. When I had a choice, a lot of people choose to stay in their illness. And I don't care what anybody says, that's a choice. A choice to get better is hard work. I've done it several times, and it is not easiest, but I have a vision. I have a vision of my future, and it doesn't mean a wheelchair. Okay. And if somebody is in that point and they've been put there for whatever reason that God has, or the universe has decided, what can they do with their life? We have seen people with no limbs on the stage speaking and having an awesome life. We don't need to restrict ourselves. And so my job is to help you get to where you want to go. Not my agenda. Where do you want to be? And I'm just that helping hand up.
So, you bring such a good point, because I feel that as human beings, we keep ourselves boxed in. We get comfortable in this little box. And I've gone through my ups and downs in life, and every time I came to a stage, I had people telling me, well, think outside the box, think outside the box. And I never knew what that meant, because I feel, and my company, Kismet, is, it has a logo, it has a saying which says, thinking outside the box is redundant, because a person can be thinking about it forever.
Yeah, you got to take that step.
Well, yeah, let me pull you out of that box. So I kind of do what you do similarly. Yeah. But I look for people, I'm looking for women who are, in a frame of mind where they think I just can't, change the can't into can. And it could be anything, because there's so many things that I come from a place where I worked in corporate America for a long time. And I realized that people live in their jobs, basically, and I say live in because they do this in and out. I understand. I'm okay with people being in a position for maybe a year or so and then moving up as they progress to go up and learn more. But there are some people who are just happy and in that little, repetitious tasks that they do. And I've never felt that they should grow up. They never feel the yearning to grow and to become more.
And that's okay. That's okay.
And that's
if
okay.
They're happy there.
But they always have something to say about the position they are in. So I always tell them, I said, do something about it or stop talking.
Agree.
And
yep.
So I come from that perspective. It's like, you are so complacent in where you are. Let's try to, have you dream a little bit and then see those dreams become goals and then have you achieve them. So that's what I do. As I used to be a project manager, so I use that technique, that whole methodology, and it helps people because, for a long time, there's some people who I can understand this in that position because they've had kids, they've had husbands, they've done, and they've been the provider in that certain capacity for a long time, and they haven't even thought about themselves. So
I agree 100%. I'm a high school dropout. And what I want, and I feel I'm qualified to say, you can change your life, change your story. It took one person to convince me. She said, Janet, you go back to school. And I said, no, I'm not smart enough. She said, oh, yeah, you are. And so long story short, I started university when I was 33 years old. And so I have been at 6 colleges and universities in 4 different provinces because my husband was a police officer with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and we transferred from province to province. So every time we moved, I started over again. But you take that to your advantage. I studied in Greece. I studied in Rome. Just because the college and university had a course over there, a travel course. So, we can create our lives. We can change those stories. And if you're in a job that helps pay the bills and that's your security, then find another way to live your passion, whether it's volunteering, whether it's studying, whether it's coaching a little league team. We all have an avenue and we all have a choice of how we live our life.
And that's so true. That is so true. So can you tell me a little bit about your business? Do you have a certain audience that you cater to, or?
Yeah, my audience is those people that are ready to move forward, that they've been in their trauma, they've been in their challenges, and it's time to move, and they don't know how. And so I share that wisdom and knowledge in different areas so that when they're ready, I'm ready for them. And it can be men, it can be women. I work with both. The criteria is they have to be ready to move. You know what? I don't live in the drama. Let's move out of that drama and move you forward.
So you're the no-nonsense type of coach.
You got it. I like that. No nonsense coach.
But then that wisdom comes with age, right? Because people, I think you have that age and where you're very poised, and, people, when they take a look at you, they'll say, oh, you know what? Don't mess with her. She's going to tell us. She's like a bulldozer. She's just going to drop us. Compared to me, who goes in there and they look at me and say, she doesn't, she's not effective. So as a coach, you have to be effective. And I'm a coach as well. And I've gone through this John Maxwell certification program. And, I tend sometimes to take a back seat just so that I let them figure it out. And I'm working with several young people who are not there yet. But this one girl had a breakthrough because then she decided, why is it that I have to do all the work? And why can't you just tell me what to do? And I said, because that's not my life.
No.
So let me tell you. So I gave her, I told her, I said, do you doodle? And she goes, yeah. I said, then doodle away while we are talking.
Yep.
And then show me what you're doodling. And I said, I'm going to doodle my way, and I'll show you what I've done. So we showed each other our product, and hers was completely different because she kept spiraling. And I'm the type of person who just, makes everything
Boxes.
And I said, you see, I cannot make your path for you. I can't tell you what to do. I can instill ideas. I can instill values, and we can explore them. But that doesn't mean that I have to make your path for you, because it doesn't work that way. Coaching is completely different.
We're just the tour guide.
Yes.
Just the tour guide. We can take you on a journey. We've been there.
Actually, we are not tour guides. I think we are the facilitators.
Oh, definitely facilitators.
Because if I was a tour guide, then I would be taking you to those places. Here I am that, when you are in Greece, do this, and this. I haven't been to Greece yet, but that's on my bucket list.
It's beautiful.
I know it's beautiful. So that's my bucket list next year, inshallah. But then the thing is, if I went to Rome, then I could say, go to Pisa. But that's going to be, if you want to go to Pisa, but it's a long way there. But you can go to Rome and see all these different things and enjoy that. And then they'll say, okay, I'll spend more time in Rome compared to going all the way to Pisa. So I can be a facilitator of the tour, but I can't be the person taking them, because then that would be like a...
But
right,
we can. And the other sense, I have been a high school dropout. I have gone to university as an adult. I have raised grandchildren. I have raised children. I have moved from province to province. I have traveled. What do you want in your life? And if I can't help you with it, I'll know someone who can.
Okay. So again.
Yeah.
Okay, I see your point, but...
it's just a tour guide in a different way, right? Guiding you through life.
Yes.
As opposed to that. But facilitate, definitely. We teach workshops, we do talks. We're facilitating an opportunity to change.
And that's
because they're the only ones that can change it.
But then that comes to a question where we find people who say, who do you think you are to help me? And why do you think I need help?
They don't come to me. They only come to me. I only work with people who are ready to move. They've already what I can do, and they've talked to me, and I tell them what I can help them with, and then it's their choice to work with me or not. Waste of energy to work with somebody who doesn't believe, trust, and like you.
That's so awesome. That's true. Then one more thing you said to me before we got on the call, you said you had a podcast.
I had a what?
You had a podcast?
Yeah, a podcast, yeah.
So tell me about that.
That was an opportunity that came my way, and I call it worldly connections, and connections with a K-T-I-O-N-S, because there is so much in the world we don't know, right? True. We just don't know. And much like you're sharing people, I shared people. So I have a friend that lives in Dubai, and she had written this great book. And so I interviewed her. I met a man when I was volunteering with Jack Canfield 2 years ago in Miami, and he does cryptocurrency. I had never heard of it, so I interviewed him. And I read a blog post, psychology, I think his name is, Flattery. He wrote a book, or a blog called Letter to My Daughter. It was amazing. So I sent him a message. Can I interview you? And so I just want to share, there's so much we don't know. And so that podcast can be found on iTunes if somebody want to go back and listen to it. My story is on there too. I had somebody else interviewed me about my 5 stages through post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's all about, you know, when we all work together, miracles happen. Share the knowledge.
That's true. You know, I'm doing this. This is my calling at this point in my life. I don't know how long I'm going to do this for, but I have interviewed such incredible people, and I'm learning so much. Sometimes I feel I don't know enough, you know. But there's people who are doing so many different things, who don't think about the good they're doing. So I took it upon myself. I said, "You need to tell your story." And he go, "What? This started that way." Where I talked to this one guy, and he says, "You know, who's?" I said, "Tell me, you should broadcast this." And he goes, you know, that's what he said was, And I said, "Well, why don't I just interview you and you tell me?" And he goes, "If you want it, okay, I'll just tell you." And that's how it started, was because you know, you are doing so much in this life. Well, there are some people who may not be doing as much, but they're still valuable. And even if they're doing or instilling value at 1% in somebody else's life, in their life, you know, it could be even if it's a mother who is just helping their child become valuable and instilling those values, I feel that they should be commended for it.
Mothers need to be. I could never stay home as a stay-home mother. I was not the best stay-home mother. I worked. My husband was a better mother than me with the kids. And I honor those women who stay home and teach their kids and teach them values. And that is the biggest job in the world.
That is
the hardest job in the world.
It is.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the fact that, you know, childcare is so expensive.
Yeah.
If they are able to do that, and the husbands or one of the parents can do that, and the other works, that is such an awesome thing. I remember I was a stay-at-home mom back in Africa, where I come from, where, you know, I was at home for a long time. And then when my son turned 3, I took all of them and started teaching in the school. And I became a school teacher for 3 years, 3.5. And then I decided, you know, we won the visa to come to the United States. So we came here, and it was awesome. But the thing is that, you know, when you're at home, you can see your children grow. You can see the little steps they take, the crawling, the first words, everything. You don't miss any of that. So I like that. But I think that there's so many people who are doing these valuable things that they should be recognized.
Yeah.
That's why I'm finding people, and like I sent you a message. I hadn't befriended you on Facebook. I don't think we're still friends, but we need to bring value to people, and I think collaboration works.
Well, and we were in a group, the Facebook group together. That's how we met, is through this Facebook group. And that's how it works. I've reached out to people as well. And it's like, what triggers our interest? Because if we're interested in something, there's definitely other people interested in it. And we don't have to know who they are. With our media today, with something like Zoom, with Facebook Lives and that, we can reach so many people. And it's not an expense to people, right? They can learn, they can start wherever they are. They can be in poverty and go to a library and watch some videos or watch some YouTube stuff. And, you know, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Maxwell, you know, these are all amazing people that they can learn from without a huge expense and start their life on that journey. You have to want it though, right?
Yes. That's the first thing, is that you, and it starts with intention, right? What is it that you want to do, and how it is that you want to do it?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's a very good point. Thank you so much. So if anybody who doesn't know how to start, what is the first thing would you tell them?
Maybe change your friends. Ask questions, you know, journaling. And I teach journaling. I'm a co-author in 3 books, and one of them I wrote a chapter on journaling. So if people want to go to my website and they can download that chapter at no expense, start there. They can reach out to me. You know, anybody who wants to start talking, asking questions, definitely, I'm open to any discovery calls, and just share my wisdom where I can, and find out where they want to go, and maybe give them some tools or some recommendations on where to go, how to start. Facebook Lives, YouTube, whatever. Books, libraries are, most libraries are free. Sometimes there's a fee to join a library, but if you're in an economic situation where you can't afford to, they have programs where you can still go in the library. You may not be able to take a book out, but you can sit there and read a book. There's audiobooks through the library. For me, I listen to talking books all the time. I'm listening to one now, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Attraction or something, I can't remember. And it's on audiobooks. So when I go for a walk, your physical health, it's not expensive to go for a walk. We can all go for a walk. If it's winter, like in Chicago, or if it's winter, like in Edmonton, where it's slippery and maybe dangerous to walk, go walk the mall. Do some window shopping, do some dreaming. Things don't have to cost money. You can start right where you are. And I'll give you an example of what my husband and I do. We quit buying birthday cards and anniversary cards together. We've been married almost 46 years. We go to the store and we look in the card department, and I said, if I'm going to buy you a card, this is the one I'd buy you. And we go through the different cards we like, we read them, and we put them back. Cards are expensive.
I love that. I love that. I did that once to my husband also, and I said, "This is the card I was going to buy you, but I'm not, since you read it already."
So yeah, there's ways. Don't let your finances, your net worth, stop you from moving. People like Tony Robbins were homeless at one time. Joe Vitale was homeless at one time. These people have changed their mindset. That's what it is, shifting your mindset. There are people out there willing to work with you and to help you on that journey. And, just take that step.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And we conclude our session today. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And have a good day.
And you as well. Thank you.